Released in the last millennium, Homeworld is one of the oldest game series now finally still being worked on. The latest addition to this real-time strategy series, Homeworld 3, is around the corner, releasing on May 13th, and that's a fantastic reason to take a look back at the origins of this franchise. Full disclaimer before we start, I own Homeworld Remastered already on a few platforms, but Gearbox is sponsoring me to make this trip back to my first ever game, streamed as Captain Collins.
This is Fleet Command. Reporting Mothership relaunch status. Command online. Resourcing online. Construction online. Cryogenic subsections A through J online. K through S online. Scaffold control, stand by for alignment. Alignment confirmed. Stand by, release control.
All caliper banks released.
The mothership has cleared the scaffold. We are away.
It is an advertisement, it boosts this channel massively, and let's just perceive this as a little preheater for Homeworld 3 and maybe a chance to relive what happened earlier in this series. To find out more about Homeworld Remastered, I provided the link to the game in the video description.
Stand by for command line testing.
Our planet is dying.
Can you believe this? The Remastered collection is out now for 9 years, and it's 25 years since the original Homeworld launched.
But there is hope.
To this day, there is maybe just one other successful three-dimensional space real-time strategy game out, and it came out this year. This makes Homeworld something special in the gaming landscape and an ambitious product that has very little comparable games out there. The entire action of massive fleet battles happens in three-dimensional space, giving you more options to engage than in a regular 2D environment. Means you can use elevation to your benefit. Visual range is defined as radar range and is spherical around your ships, so there's potential for a hidden attack from the top or underneath. That's a charming feature which is beloved by Homeworld players and will be even more useful in the latest title. But what can you expect when playing the remastered version in 2024? I would love to start with an overview of the story of Homeworld 1 and 2, since both games are part of the collection. Before the Kushan became a spacefaring civilization, there was war. An ongoing conflict on their barren planet Karak that divided the people into different clans. Fighting over spare resources for a long time. An adventurer changes everything. Her name, Rachel Sajet. She found what was then known as the Mothership. Not belonging to Karak, it teaches the Kushan that they are not originating from this world and that their ancestors probably forgot about them. Deep inside that ship was a functioning hyperspace core and a map that opened up the galaxy for these people. This map was special since it contained the path to their true origins, their homeworld, Higara. Driven by this outstanding discovery, the clans stopped fighting and started building a functioning mothership. And after generations of work, they were able to take on space. But there was one more sacrifice to make. Someone had to bind themselves with the ship and function as a neural computer. Karen Sajet, descendant of Rachel Sajet, volunteered to give up her former life and become one with the ship. While on the test drive, the mothership was not around when an old enemy made its appearance, the Tidan. They grew aware of the newly found space capabilities, and after being responsible for the initial exilement, they struck again, leaving a devastated planet and a civilization that had to learn to survive in space. But with a reachable goal and lead of Sajet, the Kuchan beat the Tidan and arrived at their homeworld, where they continued to be known as Higarans. This concludes the happenings of Homeworld 1. More than 100 years later, the Higarans learned about a species that lives in space, the Bentusi. They shared knowledge about two other hypercores, one the Bentusi own themselves, and one that was recently found by a hostile alien force known as the Vagar. Karen Sajet, now connected to the second mothership the Higaran built, led another force with the goal to acquire the remaining core, after the Bentusi gifted theirs. In possession of these three cores, Karen was able to unlock the connection to a vast gate network through the Eye of Aran, allowing travel through the entire galaxy. This sparked a yet unknown level of adventures, spreading the Higarans to places never seen before, and the galaxy became a home in itself. The following time should be known as the Age of Sajet, and everything after that will be part of our next journey in Homeworld. Intriguing, isn't it? The lore, artworks, and soundtrack were always top-notch in Homeworld. A fantasy science fiction setting that is neither utopian nor dystopian. It's rather an ongoing search for a place to fit in the galaxy. And all that is happening in a three-dimensional real-time strategy story campaign. The big difference to other strategy titles from this era, you are not building a base at the start of each mission. Nowadays we've seen this in multiple franchises, but it's still a crucial part of the Homeworld experience. Finish a mission, gather your remaining troops, jump to the next system, and start gathering resources again. Your mothership is capable of building everything you're going to need during your journey, though resources in space are low, so manage your fleets wise and plan accordingly. For your endeavors, you have an arsenal of different strike craft at your disposal, starting from small fighters that are scary in numbers, up to cruisers that will feel like a flying stronghold. Homeworld plays like many strategy games in that regard. You need to find the right counter to defeat your opponent and use your available resources to their best. Though firepower might not always be enough to beat your enemy, especially in multiplayer, but we're going to talk about that later. The ship types are pretty straightforward in Homeworld. On top of that, each ship class has got subclasses to choose from. Starting with the fighter class, you are able to choose from scouts, interceptors, bombers, and in Homeworld 1 there are defenders. Each with different purposes, but cheap to build and faster than bigger ships. To counter fighters, the best option are corvettes, the next bigger ship class. They will defend your fleet from unwanted swarming. Of course, I'm going through all these ships pretty fast, don't expect a full overview in this short time. It's like trying to tell you what's on the menu without making you listen to me listing every ingredient of your meal. Ain't nobody got enough patience for that when hungry, okay? Bring me my pizza. And now that I'm hungry, next up, frigates. They are the middle ground of every fight and the backbone of your fleet composition. While in Homeworld 1, an assault frigate can fight almost everything, in Homeworld 2, you differentiate between a flak frigate against fighters and a torpedo frigate against everything bigger. And then you're moving up to capital ships. Destroyers as your all-purpose weapon system, battle cruisers as the heavier and more expensive option, and also the largest pure strike craft in your arsenal. Carriers are your extra building ships for smaller craft. And in Homeworld 2, there's an additional one, the shipyard. It's super slow, but necessary to be able to build battlecruisers.
In time, a suitable system to receive them was found.
Space is vast and most of the time empty. Did you know that the average distance between known asteroids in our asteroid belt is about 1 million kilometers? In Homeworld, you are going to see beautiful backgrounds in space, but therefore rarely objects in your way. Yeah, here and there are some small asteroids for resources, but that's about it. And this will drastically change in Homeworld 3, by the way. But in Homeworld Remastered, you will need to work with your radar range and the amount of space you get in each mission. It's like fighting in a fog, where you're trying to find your next target without obstacles in between. But Homeworld is countering the perceived safety with unexpected events and keeps you on your toes that way.
Enemy reinforcements emerging from hyperspace.
Better not leave your mothership completely alone, or it will have a hard time in an ambush. And this is going to be an even more important factor once you start playing Homeworld in multiplayer, either against your friends, strangers, or the AI. Once you load into the dedicated multiplayer game start, you will have the option to play as Higaran, Vager, Kushan, or Taidan, against other people or the CPU. There are even some additional missions available that are not in the campaign. Before making this video, I wasn't even aware of that. So yeah, nice find, I would say. After all you heard, is it worth playing Homeworld Remastered in 2024? Well, if you ask me, I will tell you always. Like, how many good space games, or rather space strategy games, do we have? Not that many, and Homeworld is a gem not to be missed. And it's the perfect preparation for your endeavors in Homeworld 3. So, once more, check out the link in the description down below and get into the Homeworld universe, join Sajet in her struggles to free the people of Kushan, and save Higara before it's too late. Farewell, Commander. See you in our next chapter of this fantastic story.
Target destroyed.